Hello, that is Gareth here. I hope you are well. So in today's video, I want to talk about being realistic with your expectations when you start something. One of the big things that's talked about this time of year, I've talked in a few of these little videos recently, is people getting into physical shape. There's sort of a new year, new me idea. Now, the issue with that is when you start something, especially if you're new to getting into shape or you're new to starting some new activity you've taken on because you want to be a new version of yourself this year, there's a real sense when we start it where we think we can be better than what we are. Then you get into it and it's not. So it can be very disheartening when you first start doing something. And I got thinking today about a book that I read a while ago. It's a book, I'm going to show you the book actually. It's a book called Two Lengths of the Pool. And see that. I just want to get the flash off it, or the light off it, should I say. It's by a guy called Simon Hartley. I know Simon, and I know him because of this book. I read this book, and I enjoyed it so much that I actually reached out and said, I'd like to catch up with you and have a chit-chat. And he ended up doing some coaching with me, not me coaching him coaching me, and I went to a couple of his events. And basically what this pool is about, it's about, Simon's a sports psychologist, and he worked with a guy called Chris Cook, who was an Olympic swimmer. He won an Olympic medal. I don't exactly know which medal he won. I think he might have won the bronze, if I'm honest. But he won an Olympic medal anyway at the Olympics, which is a big deal. Bronze, silver or gold, any medal is a big deal. We know that. And without kind of spoiling the book for in case you wanted to read it, he went to meet Chris for the first time, and the guy come in, he was rushed, and he came in, I'm so busy, and it was kind of a quite stressed when he got to the meeting, and he says, I'm just so busy, I've such a complicated life, such a complicated job. And Simon said to him, he said, well, you've got the simplest job in the world, really. He said all you've got to do is swim 2 lengths of the pool. And he took a bit of offence at this, did Chris Cook. The book explains it, and obviously it's written a lot better than I'm saying it. But the idea with it was that he said, look, your job as a swimmer, he did, I think, 100 metres, so it's 2 lengths of an Olympic swimming pool. He says, your job is simple. It's not going and seeing the press, meeting me, doing all this kind of promotion stuff. That's part of what you have to do maybe. But actually what your real job is, you've just got to not run, but you could try running on water, you wouldn't last very long. You've just got to swim 2 lengths of the pool as quickly as possible. And that's what the book's about. It's about looking at the things you're doing and not being so bothered about the outcome, more about the process. So the way that he encouraged Chris was, Chris couldn't win every race. That would have been an impossibility. But he could do his best for those 2 lengths, the best he could do. He could do the race, the 2 lengths of the pool, as fast as he possibly could. So this book is about looking at a process and getting into that, and then looking to improve the process rather than being sort of fixated on an outcome. I thought about this today because I'm recording this on Saturday, and this morning I went for a run. Now, I walk a lot, I go to the gym and lift weights, but it's a long time since I've gone out and kind of done a proper run. And I did 5k this morning, and it's the first time I've run 5k for many, many months. And I am not the best runner, although I am tall and slim and really built like a runner, especially a distance runner. I'm not very good at it, and I go because I think it's a great way to keep in shape, if I'm honest. It's a very effective way. I just put my trainers on, run for 3 miles and come back. So I'm not a great runner, but this morning I wanted to set myself a target really of how fast am I currently doing 5k. At one point I got it down to about 30 minutes. I could never quite break. I broke it once. I broke 30 minutes for 5k once, which is kind of, I think, the goal for most people at 5k. But I'm generally about 33 to 35 minutes when I've been doing it a while. I'm not a fast runner, clearly. You can tell by working that out. It's about 11, 12-minute miles. And today, I was pleasantly surprised, to be honest, because I managed to do it in 35 minutes. So considering I've not done it for a long time, I thought that was a good result. But more importantly, this morning wasn't about how fast I could go. I just want to know how quick I was. I had no expectation. All I wanted to do today was cover 5k as quickly as possible. It's like Chris Cook with his 2 lengths of the pool, as quickly as possible. I thought, how quickly as possible can I do this? So if you set yourself an outcome that's based on an expectation of a time or a goal or a result, and you don't get there, you're going to feel disappointed. But if you set yourself a target, say, I'm going to do my very best in this, the best I can today, that's very different, because then you can concentrate on doing the thing rather than having this outcome that's got to be got, especially when you're new at something. So if you're starting something new this year and you're into it now and it's January and you don't feel very good at it, Don't worry about how you are at the moment. That'll get better the more you do it. Consistency will improve your performance in anything. But what you've got to start up on is just knowing what the process is you need to follow. So let's say you're going to a gym and you're going to do a training exercise. So I'm going to go to the gym and lift weights for 40 minutes. Don't be specific about what weights you're going to lift and I've got to lift this many and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Just concentrate on doing weightlifting for 40 minutes. Eventually, I can tell you this from my experience, you improve, you will lift more weight. If you go running, you'll run a bit quicker. But focus more on the process that you have to do and concentrate on getting that right rather than the result at the end of it. Now, I am aware some people might say, well, hang on a minute, you're the guy that talks about goal setting, mindset coach, so it's not important to get your goals. Most people's goals are unrealistic. They're based on ideas in the head, not practical things. Now, if I'd have gone out this morning and I ran it at sort of 40, I would have aimed to get it back nearer to 35. Now I've done it at 35 minutes this morning. I'm thinking, well, maybe I can get that close to 30 if I did it a couple of times a week. I can start thinking about the process. Now I can improve that. I don't need to fixate myself and it must be done by this date. Yes, I could if I went out running every day, maybe get quicker, faster. But I'm more interested in the process, going out and doing 5K as quickly as possible. And I'm going to start doing that a couple of times a week. I think it's good for my fitness, good for my cardio, and it helps with other things. My real sport, the thing I really enjoy doing, and I don't want the argument it's not a sport, is fell walking. I think that's how I ultimately my time. I train so I'm physically well and it's convenient, but when I've got the time, I like to be in the hills. So even with doing that, I don't bother myself too much with the speed. I'm more concerned about the distance and I'm more concerned about the process. So if you take something that you're starting new, especially things that are physical, don't worry about your speed and trying to beat everybody, because when you start off you won't be able to. Concentrate more on the process and get that nailed. Become really good at the process. All you've got to do, and whatever your tool into the pool is. So what you end is you become somebody who focuses on just following routine and following a process, and you don't get disheartened if you don't do it as well as you could have done, and you don't get overinflated with your ego if you do it well. I think it's a good book. If you've not heard of it before, and very few people will have, because it's not like a bestseller, but I love this book. Two Lengths to the Pool, Simon Hartley. You can get it on Amazon. That's where I got it from. If you get a chance to meet Simon, he's a lovely guy. Very, very good at what he does, and I enjoyed working with him, and I certainly benefited from my time understanding what my 2 lengths to the pool are. Because whatever you're doing, I have talked specifically today about physical things. Whatever you do, personally or professionally, in everything you do, there will be your version of 2 lengths of the pool for that. Once you can work out what your 2 lengths of the pool are, just concentrate on doing that relentlessly and over again, and do that as well as you can. The results will come. There you go. I will see you again soon for the video. Until then, take care.